Hi everybody, welcome to my channel and welcome back if you're a returning subscriber or viewer. I appreciate you guys stopping in today. This subject matter is near and dear to my heart. Today is November 1st, 2018, and today kicks off National Diabetes Awareness Month. So, since I am diabetic, I decided I wanted to do a diabetic series or a diabetes series this month. And I thought this month was fitting to do it. And I'd been wanting to do it for a while, and I just didn't know when to start. And then I thought, I think it is November that is National Diabetes Month, or National Diabetes Awareness Month. So I thought, well, I'll check into it. So I did check into it, and it was. I thought, I'll just go ahead and start it in November. So um, this series is just basically I'm gonna be entailing every day. I'm gonna try to do it every single day. That I want to explain what diabetes is. I want to go over how a diabetic has to live daily, how it has affected my life, things that I have to do differently, and things I have to watch constantly, and because it does affect my life a lot, being diabetic. I was diagnosed as a diabetic, I'm believing 6 or 7 years ago. And I don't know exactly the exact date, and it's something I probably really need to discuss with my doctor to find out exactly when I was diagnosed. And I really do need to know that. But how I got diagnosed, I really didn't even realize or think about being diabetic. I had just been not feeling good for quite a while. And it got to where I was just like bloating up super bad. I wasn't losing weight, and I wasn't really gaining weight, but I was just bloating up. My face was just so swollen. My hands were so swollen. My body was just so swollen. And it was just like I was retaining all this water, and I didn't know why, because I was drinking lots of water, and I was on high blood pressure medicine that has a built-in diuretic in it. So I just couldn't understand why I was, being so bloated. So I was also having issues with not being able to keep anything in any food down. It was just going like right through me. So I finally decided to when I went back to the doctor for my high blood pressure medicine or high blood pressure checkup. I was telling him about, so he said, let's check your blood sugar level. So they took a blood test. He actually checked my blood sugar at that point there with their meter, and it was high. I'm not exactly sure how high it was, but it was very high. And he said, it's high. And he said, your blood sugar is high. He goes, I'm not going to say you're diabetic at this point, but I'm not going to say you're not diabetic. So he wanted to go ahead and take some blood work. So he did. And he wanted to see what my A1C had been for the prior 3 months. And that's what an A1C test does. It gives you an average of what your blood sugar levels are for 3 months. So they took blood, and he also gave me a meter and to test my blood sugar levels, and he wanted me to keep track of it. And I had no clue how to do any of that. And I was I was just lost, and I was devastated. I didn't know what to do. So he also got me in right away to our hospital. Our hospital has a really good um, diabetes class that teaches new diabetics all about the disease, um, about how to care for yourself. I mean, it is very extensive. I mean, it was like I had to go several times, and it was like 6 hours each time that I went. I mean, it was a very extensive class, but I'm so thankful that I went because it really, really helped me understand the disease. It helped me understand how important it was for me to take care of myself, and to keep my blood sugars as normal as possible, and how to get them lower. So I was really thankful that he did send me to those classes and that I was able to go. So if you have been newly diagnosed as a diabetic, um, and even if you've been a diabetic for a while, I think you can really benefit from these classes to get new in updated information on the disease because it has changed. If you were, diagnosed 15, 20 years ago, the way you care for yourself now when you're diagnosed is a lot different. And so you get new and the most updated information on your disease and on how to care for yourself. So it's really a great class to go to. If you're not sure if you're interested in that, you're not sure how to go about finding it, ask your doctor about it. They should know where there is classes on it, and if they don't, I'd start contacting your local hospitals and find out if they do have these courses. I would say the majority of them do. Okay, so let's get back to what diabetes is. I'm going to explain it just in layman terms. I am not a medical doctor or medical professional of any sorts. I do not hold a license or degree. I can just sit here and talk to you about the disease through my experiences as a diabetic. So, and my knowledge is of it. And I have been very lucky because I believe the courses that I went through also put things in layman's terms to where I could understand it. It wasn't like medical terms. I mean, there was some medical terms that I had to learn, but when it was down to the fundamentals and that the important things that you needed to understand, they really did break it down into layman's terms to make so that I could understand it, so everybody could understand it. So what diabetes? There's different forms of diabetes. Okay, there's type 1, there's type 2, there's gestational diabetes, there's juvenile onset diabetes, and there is prediabetes. And I believe now they're coming out with there's something else that's called insulin resistance. And I think that kind of sounds to me like it's type 2, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not real certain. I am a type 2 diabetic, and that is where, my knowledge is, what I understand of the disease, because that's what I've gone through and learned about. I could tell you, a little bit of basics about what each one is. Type 1 diabetic is where where the person no longer um, is able to produce insulin. The pancreas is what produces the hormone insulin, and a type 1 diabetic no longer produces that. And it could be for several different reasons, um, and I'm not going to really get into what those reasons could be. Um, the pancreas just kind of quits working, and from what my knowledge is, from what I was been taught and told. Type 2 diabetics, it's where your body still produces insulin, but it may not be enough. It may not be enough, and the insulin is not doing its job because your blood sugar levels are too high. So the insulin's unable to do its job. Gestational diabetes is where when you're pregnant and your blood sugars get too high. And normally after birth and during postpartum, that returns to normal. Sometimes it does not return to normal, and then you are actually a diabetic. But I don't know how common that is. Prediabetes is where you are reaching diabetic levels with your blood sugar levels, and that you really need to start taking action at that point so that you don't cross over into being a diabetic. So, and then insulin resistance is where your body, I'm not exactly sure on that one. So I'm not going to even say because I don't want to tell you guys wrong information that I don't really know anything about. I just want to tell you things that I've learned and that I do know about. So I'm going to basically be talking about on this series type 2 diabetes. Diabetes in all forms is a growing number in America. More and more people are being diagnosed with it. It used to be very rare. I remember, growing up, if somebody was diagnosed with diabetes, it was like, oh my gosh, it was a major, major thing. And because it was just never heard of, it was very, very rare. But now it is just becoming so common. And some of the reasons that is becoming very common is obesity, not eating correctly, Um, and it could be that it's just hereditary as well. So there's many reasons why you can become diabetic. It's not just that you're eating too much sugar. It's not that you're just overweight or anything like that. There's other reasons. It could run in your family, and you could just be more susceptible to get it. It did run in my family. I have a nephew that is he started out type 2 diabetic, and then he ended up crossing over to type 1 because his pancreas quit producing insulin. So he is type 1 diabetic. I have two nieces who are type 2 diabetic. My grandfather was type 2 diabetic, and then I had a great grandmother that was I'm not sure if she was type 1 or type 2, but she was very much diabetic. She had it very, very badly, from what I understand. So, diabetes does run in my family quite rampantly. And then, of course, I'm diabetic. So, it does run in my family quite rampantly. So, that's probably why I got it. But being overweight doesn't help as well. So, that is kind of a breakdown of what diabetes is. Now, this is the way it was explained to me for type 1 diabetic or type 2 diabetics. What my body actually does is we eat food, and then our body turns that food into glucose, and that's what feeds our body. It goes through and it feeds our cells, and that is a normal process. So whereas with a diabetic type 2, I eat the food, it turns into glucose. Um, what insulin does is it is produced in the pancreas. It is a hormone, and then it is released through the body. And the insulin works with the glucose to feed your body. And what the job of the insulin actually is, this is the way it was explained to me, that the insulin's kind of like a key. It's a key to your cells. So the insulin goes in and it unlocks your cells and opens them up to prepare them to be fed. Then the glucose comes in and feeds your cells and your body. If you don't have enough insulin, and you don't produce insulin at all, and if you don't have enough insulin, then what happens is your cells cannot be unlocked to be fed, and that is not good. It causes a lot of issues because your body's not being fed. You're not getting the nutrition that you need. You're not getting any energy. As a diabetic, I do suffer a lot of times with being really, really exhausted and tired. Um, you know, just going to work sometimes and then coming home, I'm exhausted, and I need to sleep. Um, Healing processes. It takes longer for a diabetic to heal properly. So we always have to be very careful not to get cut, scraped, or that type of thing. And when you go to have procedures done, it's very important, like procedures like surgeries and so forth. It's very important that you have your diabetes in control or in check and as low as possible before you go in and have the surgery done, because it will help you with your healing time. If not, a lot of diabetics, things don't heal. If they cut themselves or whether it does not heal, does not heal, does not heal. And when it does heal, it just takes forever to heal. So it's very, very important for us to keep our blood sugars as normal as possible in order to have that healing. So there's a lot of things that I have to do that a lot of other people do not have to do. I have to check my blood sugar levels um, daily, and not just once a day, it's several times a day. I am to do it when I first get up in the morning, or when I first get up out of bed. I have to check my blood sugar level and see where it's at. And I have a meter, and I will show you on one of the days in my series what the meter looks like and how I actually do it. So I have a meter, I have test strips, and I have a little thing that pricks my finger, and I have to take my blood sugar level. And from what I understand, anything after while you're fast, that's considered fasting when you wake up because you've not had anything to eat all night or during the time you've slept. Um, that level should be at least, I mean, no more than 100. That's it should be no more than 100. And then if you eat 2 to 3 hours after you eat, it should be no more than 140. Anything over 140 is considered high. So that's the first time I take it. Then after I eat breakfast, 2 to 3 hours after that, I have to check it again and see where it's at. And then I eat lunch. I have to take it 2 to 3 hours after that, and I eat dinner 2 to 3 hours after that, and then normally check it before I go to bed. So that's several times a day that you have to check it, and your fingers do get sore. And there are meters and that you can use like different areas of your body to you know punch yourself, prick yourself, and take the little blood sample and check that out. And it's very important when we do that to make sure we use, I use like antiseptic wipes before I prick myself and after as well, to make sure that no bacteria and that kind of thing gets in there. So that is something that it takes time. You have to remember to do it. And it has to become part of your life. It really does. Um, I sometimes get away from doing it, and that's not a good thing. And I know because life gets busy, and that's not a good thing to do. So, diabetes affects a lot. It affects my diet. I have to eat really, really watch what I eat, and that type of thing, and when I eat it. Um, I find that it's my blood sugar levels are more sustained at a level, at an even level, if I eat smaller amounts of food, but more times throughout the day. So I normally eat when I get up. I normally have like normally three. It's normally about 4 hours after that I have a snack, and a couple hours after that I have lunch, and then a couple hours after that I have another snack, and then a couple hours after that I have dinner, and then depending if I'm still up, I may have another snack. So that's a lot. You know, like, oh my gosh, you eat that much? Yeah, I eat that many times a day, but that helps keep my blood sugars level and even. It sustains me. Eating protein is very important to a diabetic. I'm not saying you got to go and eat tons and tons of protein and everything, but you do have to have a sufficient amount of protein in your diet because that also keeps things level. Carbohydrates, we have to really cut back on our carbohydrates and watch how many things have carbohydrates. And you have to learn how to read packages and how to kind of like convert it to like what a carb serving actually is. So, for instance, if I see an item that says it has 30 carbs 30 grams of carbs in a portion of it, and we're talking serving size, and you've got to watch your serving sizes too. Um, 30 grams of carbs in a serving size, then that is 2 servings of carbs. 15 grams of carbs is 1 serving of carbohydrates. So, what they taught me in class is that you really need to stay for women, and it's different from women and men. For women, we need to stay, if we need to lose weight or we're trying to lose weight, we need to stay about 2 carb servings per meal and 1 carb serving per snack. So we are still allowed to have carbs because carbs, it's hard to get them out of your diet. So we are still allowed to have carbs in our diet, but it's very few and far between when you start really looking at the packaging and seeing what serving sizes are and having to count those. So that's something I had to learn how to do. And at first I was like, always, you know, writing everything down. Now it's just in memory, so I can now just kind of look at a package and it has 45 grams of carbs for one serving. So I know that's three servings of carb servings. So if I'm going to have something else with that maybe particular item that has carbs in it, I have to count that as well. I have to count that as well. So I may even have to back off of having like a half a serving of something instead of a full serving to stay within the balance of my carbs. Now, if I'm not really trying to lose weight, I can go up to about 3 to 4 carb servings per meal. That is more suggested for men. But since I always seem to be on the heavier side, and it's hard when you're diabetic to lose weight if you're overweight. Um, so some diabetics, what happens to them when their blood sugar's high, they lose a lot of weight because their body's not getting fed. And my body tends to hang on to every calorie and that it does get, and I tend to gain weight. So when mine's kind of normal, it's easier for me. You're at a normal rate. It doesn't ever get normal, but when it's lower and closer to normal, um, I tend to lose weight. So I have lost 30 pounds in the last several months, and that's been very difficult. It's difficult being a diabetic to lose weight. It really is. It's hard. It's a very hard thing to do. So I'm very proud of myself that I have lost 30 pounds, and I have noticed a difference in my blood sugar levels. My A1C tests have, before I started losing the weight, I was at like 8.7 was an example what my A1C was. Um, as I started losing weight, 3 months later, it went down to like 7.6, and then it went down to like 7.4, and then this last time it was at 7.1. So six, six and below is considered normal. Anything above that is considered diabetic. So anyway, that's just the scale that they use to determine where your blood sugar levels are at. And I hope that hasn't confused anybody. I may have to be more clear on that in um, another one of the videos. One of the videos I'm going to do for the month. So that's kind of like an overview of being diabetic. Exercise is also very important. Um, they teach us to exercise at least 20 minutes a day, and we have to exercise to where our heart rate is up, you know, not like super heavy, but like where it is, where you're um, not excelling. I don't know how to explain it. Accelerated. You have to get your heart rate up and into burning mode, but it doesn't have to be like killer, fat burning mode. But they say moderate exercise, like, walking, that kind of thing. It doesn't have to be at an aerobic level. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It does not have to be at an aerobic level. But you do need to have your heart rate up for at least 20 minutes a day. And you don't have to do it all at one time. People say, "Oh, I'm so busy, I don't have time to work out." You can do like 10 minutes of it at one part of the day and 10 minutes at another part of the day. And they said that actually works a little bit better for diabetics because um, you're not letting your blood sugar build up so high and then doing 20 full minutes of it, and then your blood sugar goes back down quite a bit. What This way you're like doing it periodically throughout the day, so that's actually better because it's maintaining, it's keeping your blood sugar levels even level, and that's very very important. You'll hear me say that a lot. So exercise is important, diet is important, taking care of ourselves. Like I said before, if you get a cut, take care of it. The classes taught me all about how to take care of my eyes because eyes are very much affected by diabetes. How to take care of my feet. They are very much affected by diabetes. Your teeth are very much affected by diabetes, that kind of thing. So it goes over in detail all about that. as well in the class that I went to. It taught me how to, trying to think what else. Diet, exercise, taking your blood sugar levels. There was one more thing I thought that they taught us. Exercise, maybe that was it. How to take care of ourselves. So I think that's about all the main subjects that they covered. But it was very, very, I mean, I had to go like, I think it was like 3 or 4 classes, and they were like 6 hours long each class that I went to. So, I mean, it was very extensive. And I'm glad that I went though. And I still have my books around here, and I should probably get some of those out so that I can refer back to them while I'm doing this series. So, I think that's going to be all I'm going to go over today and let that kind of sink in for you guys. Um, but I can't think of anything else. So, if you guys have any questions or comments or you want to know about something, please feel free to comment below. Ask me. I have no problems getting back with you and letting you know what I know. And if I don't know the answer to any of your questions, I will try to refer you to it. There's a lot of help out there if you have become diabetic and you just feel lost. I felt lost. I just didn't know what to do, and I started experiencing lows as I did start taking care of my diabetes, and those are horrible. You just kind of lose. For me, a low is where I've lost, like, your blood sugar gets so low, and that you have to actually get some carbs or sugar in your body. But mine has gotten to where it was low, so low that I just have lost function. Um, Meaning I can't. You just kind of like freeze. I like kind of like freeze, and I can't chew. I remember one time I was going through a low, and luckily my sister was with me, and she got me a glucose pill. You want to keep those on hand so that if you do experience a low, you can. So she gave it to me, and I got it in my mouth, but I couldn't remember how to chew. I was like, it was in my mouth, and I was just like, I know I'm supposed to chew this, but how do I chew this? And I could not chew. So we got that out, and I was able to get some Pepsi in me, just regular Pepsi. I was able to drink and swallow it, and that was, I could do that. Um, but so that you really need to keep a liquid form of sugar around too. Orange juice is absolutely a great one. So if you're experiencing low, you can just get it down your throat, because you're not going to learn. Most people do not remember how to chew. It's very difficult. I've had other diabetics say that they've had the same thing happen to them. You just kind of lose function. You don't know how to do. You just can't remember how to do something. Somebody told me one time they had their arm raised up at one point, and they were going through low, and they couldn't remember how to lower their arm. Just simple things like that. And it's scary, and when I have it, I start getting a really bad pain in my back, and it comes around into my stomach, and then I just start pouring the sweat. And it's just like a cold sweat. I just pour the sweat and pour the sweat, and I feel like I'm on fire, but it's actually just a really horrible cold sweat. And I have to get, um, some carbs in me and some sugar in me to bring it back up. Now, I haven't had a low in a long, long time, so they are maintainable if you are eating correctly and exercising and keeping, watching your blood sugar levels and so forth. So they are maintainable. So don't be afraid that that may happen. It may happen, and just be prepared and when it does happen. And I'll go over in more detail in different areas. This is just kind of an overview today, and I'll get more specific with things as the series continues. So that's where I'm going to leave it today. So if you're struggling with this, like I said, there's a lot of support out there. You can always contact the National or the American Diabetes Association. You can get on their website. They have lots and lots of information. I Googled a lot. I got on Google and just type in diabetes or what I wanted to know about being a diabetic and that kind of thing. And that helped me a lot too. And I've noticed here on YouTube, there is a lot of information on YouTube as well. So if you are not getting information that you feel like you need, there are avenues out there that you can search out and get the information that you do need or want to know. So anyway, this year, I'm not sure, maybe the last couple of years, their motto is "This is what diabetes looks like." So I'm going to leave it at that to everybody. You guys have a wonderful night, and thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate it so much. And I hope you continue watching the series, and that maybe this may help somebody and give them a little bit of support out there, or somebody will learn something new about this disease. It is a silent disease, and it is an autoimmune disease that there is no cure for. So you have to just take care of yourself and be responsible for your own care. And if you have been diagnosed as diabetes, and make sure that your doctors are doing everything they can for you, and that you're using every avenue out there possible to live a happy, healthy life. So, you guys have a wonderful night, and I'll see you tomorrow. And this is what diabetes looks like.